Hey guys, yesterday Andrew brought up a good point, which is that I've been talking a lot about Weakside without really explaining what exactly it is and how exactly to play it. I figured it's time to change that. So let's talk about it. First, what is Weakside? Let's make sure we're on the same page. Why do we play Weakside? What are its benefits? Why are we weak? That sounds bad. Why are we doing it? Well, weak side is very simply just sacrificing resources in the form of gold, pressure, objective, and wards on one side of the map to use them on the other. It is really easy to pull off, and it's very forgiving. And here's why. So when everyone is playing strong side, everyone is playing just normally and trying their best, usually in solo queue. Everyone is getting 20% of the gold XP and other resources. This means that unless everyone is collecting the max amount of gold and all the XP that's on the map, it typically falls off because at best you are going even, and at worst you're falling behind. It's hard for anyone to really get a solid advantage when everyone is trying to take everything. However, when we play a weak side, this is an example of a weak side. This isn't the exact numbers, and different people can be playing strong side, but we can sacrifice a few people and say, okay, you're gonna be behind, and instead we're gonna funnel those resources into someone who can carry. This allows for a lot more explosive mid games. It allows us to really open up the map and force things that we couldn't originally do because we have one or two members that are particularly ahead. This also makes it relatively reliable. As long as someone gets ahead, you're always going to know what to do and how to play around it. You're always going to have your win con, and it's that person. The cons are, though, is it's really reliant on someone getting ahead. I mean, it could be anyone. It could even be the support. But if everyone goes behind or even, the whole idea kind of falls apart. It's just not built for something like that. Also, if the weak side is too weak, it can cause problems. If they devote too many resources top side and they're able to get a really, really strong lead, then it can have an inverse effect. So there are some grounds, there are some parameters to work in. We need to get someone ahead. We can't ignore weak side completely. But in general, it's pretty reliable. It's pretty straightforward in how to do. So for our case, our weak side is top side, and our strong side is bot side. So what does this look like? So the jungle will spend most of the time on strong side, which, like I said, is bot side. We want to funnel pretty much all our wards exclusively into bot side for the first 15 minutes of the game. Even 20-25, depending on how things play out. Only around Baron do we kind of transition stuff towards top side. We want to really focus on aggressive positioning and big plays. The idea of this is essentially min-maxing, and min-maxing is very aggressive, is very extreme. And we also get the benefit of a pretty simple draft phase. We can pick our weak sides, or our weak side and our more flexible stuff early so that we can get counter picks for stronger, more extreme stuff later. And it kind of depends on the side. So here is bot side. You are all very familiar with it, I'm sure. And I just want to kind of talk about a couple of unique qualities about it. First thing to know is how mid lane interacts with both sides of the jungle. So when coming from blue side, when we're playing blue side, it's kind of hard for mid lane to really do anything in the jungle, or in the bottom side jungle. The pathing is just really weird. Like, if he wanted to get to blue, he has to come all the way down river and circle up. If he wants to get to wolves, he's got do this weird path, and he's in this really exposed area. And if he passes this way to blue, I mean, this is just so ridiculously deep that it's a real problem. It's hard to it's hard for him to really help out in the jungle. The opposite happens, though, if we're playing on red side. Mid lane red side, it's really easy. If we're playing really aggressive, we can peek in here to Raptors. We can also path this way. It's also a relatively safe straight line this way. If a fight were to break out here, it's not too far to wrap around to red and still be relatively safe. There's a blast cone right here almost all the time to help out in emergencies. So red side has a really, or when we're playing red side, mid lane has a really easy path into bottom jungle. When we're playing blue side, it does not. The same is true of bot lane, but in reverse. If we're playing blue side, it's relatively straightforward to like path to blue to like help a counter gank. It's a straight, safe line. It's not very intrusive, and it's really easy to back out of. And in hard case scenarios, it's really easy to get here. Not to mention this ward spot is really clutch and easy to get to. It's not super dangerous invading. But the opposite is true for the other side. So red side has a really awkward time getting in here. Getting all the way to red is a little dangerous. There's only one really small choke point that the enemy bot lane can really easily get to. Trying to go to Krugs just kind of blocks you off right here if they path up. It's really unsafe to do anything in the bottom side jungle for bot lane when we're playing red. Another thing to bring up is the Drake Pit. So the thing about Drake Pit is when we're playing red side, it's really easy to pressure it because we can come in, we can do what we want, and worst case scenario, we just leave. We have lots of escape paths that are just straight lines, really simple to do. Really doesn't matter how much we commit. We have some straightforward disengage paths. However, if we're playing blue side, whenever we go for a Drake, we have to commit because we have to come all the way around this wall to actually get to the pit. So if we're here and the enemy starts coming in, our only paths are really awkward around the big walls. What this means is that when we're playing blue side, it's hard to set up Drakes. We need to be more aggressive. We need to make sure our waves are in position. We need to be fast about it. Or we need to be able to turn fights. We need to be able to instantly flip around, catch someone out, and use it as a bait opportunity. There's a couple different ways, but it's certainly a lot more aggressive. And obviously the same is true for Baron on the other side, but we're focusing just on the bot side for now. Okay, so let's go over role by role what each and every one of you are kind of doing within this comp. Okay, so we're going to start with Ethan, Quantum Plasma, the code name the Weakside. So this is the place where we take resources from, if that wasn't clear. All wards, ganks, heralds, etc. we don't focus on. I mean, you can gank when it's convenient or to help fix a wave if Ethan gets in a really bad spot and is falling too far behind. Donating something, anything, a roam from mid lane, a couple Qs from a jungler to help shove a wave can help. But typically, 90% of the time, we want to ignore it. The Weakside's job is to not die, like as much as possible. Your job as Weakside is to go as even as possible. Weak does not mean behind. Like I said earlier, if you fall behind, we're fucked. You want to play like the biggest little bitch ever, feel free to stay under turret, lose minions. As long as you're soaking up experience and the wave is eventually going to bounce back towards you, you don't have to play aggressive. You can ward defensively. You don't have to go for any kills whatsoever. If you go even, we win. Wave management skills are required early game because you'll have to be able to set yourself up for a safe laning phase. But that kind of falls off mid game because you should always be at objective fights. Always, always, always. You can largely ignore waves during mid game for team fight objectives. It doesn't matter if you stop farming at 15 minutes. It's not that crucial to the team. The champion pool is limited to anyone that doesn't really rely on gold. We're looking for the really big ultimates, things that hard CC, other tools of utility, stuff like Wukong, Malphite, Ornn, etc. Alright, so now we have our jungle, the bot lane simp. He should really only be topside to clear camps, and pretty much no other resource should be topside. The jungler's job here is to don't place any wards topside at all. We're going to put them all on bot. The only time that we place wards top is around Baron, but that's not a factor until 20-25 minutes at the earliest. We never want to counter jungle topside pretty much ever, just because it leaves our bot side so exposed, and it's really hard to get from the other side, topside jungle, to bottom lane, to Drake especially. It's difficult. So unless it's specifically free, we don't invade. 95% of the time, we don't want to counter jungle topside. That being said, we want to try and counter jungle bot side always. The more resources we can split, where we can pull from their bot side, will just make them even more weaker. Drakes will come free. The jungler will never be there, so it's really easy to gank. We can always predict where the jungler is. Like, the more we can invade bot side, the better. And I'll be talking about that a bit more later on. You want to spend your free time applying pressure to mid and bot. This doesn't always mean like diving and getting kills, but even just like zoning for plates, getting them off the wave, helping shove in a wave. Like, that stuff can really help. It can even help set up for Drakes. Champion pool, we want something that's aggressive and can snowball the primary carry lane, which is mid or ADC depending, and is comfortable invading, comfortable counter jungling. All right, so our mid lane, the red side wingman. Your job is two-sided. When on the red side, you have to use your wards to help, or you have to use your wards primarily in the bot side of the jungle. Since you're on red side, you'll be able to help counter jungle a lot. As we discussed earlier, you have really safe pathing into red side, so you can help out Nick invade a lot. And you have to make sure you time your backs in a sensible manner around Drake. It's really important for waves to be shoved out and for you to be able to roam quickly to Drake fights in this case. Red side, like I said, red side is much easier for you to help the jungle in. But what if you're not on red side? Well, on blue side, you will be the primary carry. You want to draft a kill lane, anything to get an advantage. Your only focus is getting ahead, getting kills, getting turrets, taking all the gold. You're the primary carry. And you want to communicate and use your team to gain leads. This doesn't mean jump into solo queue. It means you can use your teams. Okay, how can we set up a dive? Okay, how can we invade so I can clear his jungle? Like, that sort of stuff. Your champion pool, if we're on blue side, it's either something kill focused, or if we're on red side, something that can shove waves and roam to objectives and counter jungle easily. Usually that's probably going to be a mage. Alright, so our ADC, the strong boy. Your job is also two-sided. When you're on red, you are the primary carry. You want to focus on drafting an early game hard kill lane, like Tristana, Misfortune, etc. This is because, again, bot side, when playing on red, it's hard for you to help out the jungler. The pathings are just awkward. So we want to focus everything on that when we're playing red side. You want to be aggressive and look to snowball a giant lead. If you get ahead, make sure you spec into defense. And if you get behind, make sure to spec into heavy offense. This is going to keep you reliable at all points in the game. When you're on blue side, you need to pick something that is self-sufficient. Think like siege carries, Ezreal, Caitlyn, Jhin, Kai'Sa maybe. Stuff that can work on their own while the support leaves. But not necessarily hard carrying. Utility is also really important. So something like Ashe would also be good. Something like Varus. And you want to make sure your back timing is synced with Drake. It is super important that you are there for the Drake fights every time. If you have to give up a wave, so be it. Drake fight is more important than waves when you're on blue side. Your champion pool is either something kill focused if you're on red side, or something self-sustaining if you're on blue side. Wave clear is also nice to have in certain situations, as it lets you set up for Drakes and stuff quicker. Alright, Noah, the blue side wingman. You are the blue side equivalent to mid. Your job also has two sides. When on red side, you are playing a kill lane. Focus on getting your carry ahead. We want to focus everything on getting the ADC ahead and keeping them alive. That is your number one job. When we're on blue side, however, your job is to help out the jungler, be his wingman. Use your wards on the bot side of the jungle, make sure it's safe for him Help your jungle counter jungle. Help the carry help your ADC push in a wave. Then roam up to blue, help him take it or get a ward down, help him take Gromp, something like that. It's really safe for you to do that. And then make sure you use your backs in a really sensible manner around Drake. Again, it's really important for you in particular to be there on the Drake fights on this side of the map to help out the jungler. Your champion pool, if on red side, a Vanguard or something similar like a Blitz or a Pike is required. We need a kill lane. If on blue side though, either an Engager or an Enchanter, something like Lulu or Nami to directly buff the jungler in case of a skirmish breaks out, they both work fine. Okay, so here's just a quick drafting summary. Like, how is this gonna work? Okay, so when we're on blue side, top side is weak side, big dick ult energy, nothing new. Jungle sometimes to help snowball mid lane, turn fights with Drake can counter jungle. Mid is the hard carry, ADC is self-sustaining. Support is something that is fast, something that can get deep wards and help out the jungler, counter jungle. The draft order, we're always going to pick top and ADC in the first round, always. ADC being self-sustaining, they don't really need a counter pick. And top is our weak side, so they always get drafted first. We want to try and get an advantage by banning and using counter picks around against their mid lane so that we can get an advantage. When on red side, it's the same for top and jungle. They don't change a whole lot. While mid, you got to focus on good wave clear. Probably should be on a mage for that. Potentially something mobile to help even more with counter jungle. ADC is the hard carry, so you want to be primary receiver of kills, gold, XP, and this is the team's job to keep alive. Support is the heavy engager. Has to be heavy engager when we're playing red side. Something with good synergy to ADC. And finally, the draft order. This time we draft top and mid first round, with mid being something of high wave clear, something mobile. It's a bit harder to counter them. It's a bit more of a prio, and there's a lot of different options there, so we don't necessarily need the counter pick around mid. And we want to try and get an advantage through bans and counter picks against bot lane. We want our bot lane to get ahead. Okay, so that is it. I forgot to put the quiz slide on here, but I will post a link to it below. It is just one question. That's all it is. So, well, it's 2 with your name, but yeah, please fill that out. It's due by Tuesday. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.